Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live, Learn, Travel. Here in this episode, we will be discussing a little bit about the World Cup and the recent events that has happened. I have with me today Marvin Johnson. How are you doing, Marvin?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back. We're down here in Brazil enjoying the World Cup and ready to talk about Team USA and their performance.
Okay, well, it's definitely good to have you back. I know you went over to the United States recently. How was your trip back?
Oh, it was good. It was a quick trip. In fact, everybody be on the lookout. I got some video coming about what it's like to travel in Brazil during the World Cup, going through the airport, that kind of thing. So great trip. Glad to be back home, but I'm glad to be back in Brazil.
Okay. Well, a lot has happened since you left and came back. Of course, everyone, I'm pretty sure they spoke to you a little bit about the U.S. game that happened this past week against Denmark. First, I would like to get your thoughts. What did you think about the game?
Oh, well, I tell you what, as a person who just really within the last maybe 6 years has gotten into watching World Cup soccer, I was really impressed with the U.S. We're going to talk about some different topics as to what we saw in the game, but I tell you, I really enjoyed how hard they played. Also with Belgium, we got to give them credit too. They were right there with the U.S. and of course, we know the outcome. But yeah, well, I'll take my hat off to the USA team, but they did really, really well.
Okay. Yes. 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 So today, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we noticed in the game. You definitely mentioned a little bit about the team and how good they played against us. But for example, let's talk a little bit about the coach, Jurgen. He's from Germany. Definitely he showed great leadership, I would have to say. One of the things that I saw that even from the first game that they played, even Portugal, that game in Portugal, he really led them as a coach. He really helped them to keep that focus during the game. Even at times, maybe perhaps they could have been in a desperate situation. They kept their focus and they kept their nose to the grindstone, and that's was something that really helped them to get through most of these games.
Yeah, one thing I heard mentioned about the coach for the USA was that he told his players, I think it was prior to this last game against Belgium, to go out and buy their return flight tickets for the day after the World Cup. So trying to really motivate them. I think it really showed. He had them motivated even when they went down by, I think, 2 goals. They continued playing, no let up. So I was really, really glad to see the coaching job that he did.
Yes, I have to agree with you. Now let's talk about the MVP or MVG, most valuable goalie, Howard. He was very impressive. Quite a few of the Brazilians, they know that I'm American, so they really chanted. They were like, wow, you guys have an outstanding goalie. I think it was recorded. He even made a World Cup history. He did, what, 16? He stopped 16 attempts, which is a World Cup record. So that's something that was very outstanding. And to be, he's 35? To be at age 35?
Yeah.
He's very athletic, and I was reading some information about him too. It was interesting. He suffers from an illness, but he says when I'm on the field, it doesn't bother me, and I play to win. So it was definitely encouraging to see the effort that he put forth in trying to help the U.S. to win.
Yeah, I hope that he can, be back for the next World Cup run. And again, he's 35, so he'd be 38, 39 come that time. But the U.S. is definitely a nice cornerstone. They could use someone like him for their next run as they hopefully continue to improve.
Yes, yes. And I also appreciate it too. The All-Star American Beasley. He did a pretty good job on defense and also bringing the ball down. Then of course you had Jones. He suffered from a few mile football kicks from other opponents. And then also too, I thought Bradley, he did well as well. He showed great team leadership as well. So I think overall the team did pretty good. And of course the 19-year-old, he did well. Julian Green, I think that's his name. Yeah, Julian Green. That was the last substitute that came in for Jones. He scored the first field goal, which kind of put them back on the upper edge of perhaps tying the game. So Julian Green, I will say, at the age of 19, proved to be an outstanding player, and definitely with the World Cup coming up next, he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. What do you think?
Yeah, indeed. The young man came in and put a goal on, and help the U.S. At least stay in contention. So I hope to see him back and a few of the other players. One of the things I want to tell parents out there, hey, if you want to encourage your kids to get involved in the sport, look how soccer is growing in the United States. There were a number of articles on the BBC and most of the news services talking about the U.S. soccer team and their valiant effort. So we can see that it's definitely growing as a sport in the U.S. Nothing to be rival with baseball or football or basketball, but for sure it's something that 4 years, 8 years, a few more World Cups down the road, the U.S. would definitely be right there in the mix with most of the countries.
I definitely have to agree with you. Well, definitely, Marvin, thanks for joining me tonight, talking about the World Cup and some of the things about the U.S. team. And definitely, for our listeners and our audience, we'd like to thank you again for tuning in and giving us such great support with our Live, Learn, Travel project. And always remember, too, if you have any questions you'd like to send us in regards to our project, you can send those to info@gollt.me. And as always, continue to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all our other social media networks. And as always, we encourage our listeners to live, learn, and travel with passion. Until next time, guys, have a good night. Bye-bye.